Hello and welcome back to the editing corner in Hell's Nicholas Deekaboot household. You join us as we have had a couple of packages arrive because unfortunately we have been filming so many videos and we have run out of disk space. So we had a few different options that we could take up. This one is a network attached storage drive, and I will explain why we've chosen that as we go. So we've had the drive itself has arrived, plus 2 hard disk drives that we need to slot into it to set up. So let's have a look first of all at the box. A little bit of plastic on there. Does tell you what it is on the outside, tells you who made it. This is UGreen, which is an American company but operating very successfully in the UK. And let's go, let's dive in, shall we? So what is network attached storage? Well, it is a personal cloud. So if you want something that will attach itself to your network, as it suggests, your Wi-Fi network in your house or your small business, it can be accessed by anybody who is on that network, but obviously you will have your firewalls and your remote so that it's private, so that people cannot access it from outside. And you can, in some cases, if the internet attached, use a username and password to get in. We'll have to see whether you can with this one. So it's a great file storage. There are reasons as well why it's beneficial over using the little solid state drives that you get, or SD cards, or external hard drives, and again we will explain that as we go. So we've got the outside box that you can see, and we've got another very shiny box inside. Does look like we enjoy getting things with rather fancy packaging. So that's the outside packaging from the manufacturer, empty. And now we've got the inside packaging from the manufacturer, same plastic handle there that went through the top, and this tells us the brand that we've got and a little bit more information about it. This one is a 2-bay hard drive, and that means that you can slot 2 drives into it, and that's really important for backing up your data. So if you have a solid state drive and you just have one little external drive that you plug in, if that drive fails, as does unfortunately occasionally happen, then you would lose all of your data on it. Whereas this one provides you with a backup, and we'll show you how to set that up as we go. Sometimes you might choose to invest in a cloud drive instead with a third-party company. That's great because it's off-site, so if anything physically happens to your house, then you can, obviously your data is there. It does mean that you've got internet transfer to think about, particularly if your external internet connection is quite poor. And also you have to think you have to pay a monthly subscription, whereas once you've done it and you've paid the money for this was about £600 for the setup, then it's yours and all you have to do is pay to power it. Okay, so that is the box open. So inside there, we've got a small foam topper, which it tells us is recyclable. We'll have to have a look and see if we can recycle that locally, and a small accessory box as well. So let's take the accessory box out. We'll open that in a moment. Large piece of foam. This holds the drive in place, which is quite helpful. And there it is in a bag, quite hefty. Another piece of foam. So we're 2 pieces of foam there. Let's pop that on one side. And then in the bottom, we have got the manual and warranty card, just in a little pack there. It is a card just to make us feel special, so that the booklet's not lying out on its own. And that's the box empty. So we'll put that to one side. So we've got 2 boxes, the outer box that it came in and the manufacturer's inner packaging. We've got the foam there. That is our user manual. I'm sure we will find that very helpful. And let's have a look in the accessory packaging, shall we? I would imagine this will be a plug so that we can plug it in. Because it is a UK model, we would expect that it comes with a UK plug so that we can legally plug it in straight away. And we have got a data cable there, which is fantastic. With something like this, you do want to plug it directly into your router so that you get as fast a network speed as possible, because you're going to be transferring things wirelessly. And we've also got in another little plastic bag, little screwdriver, so there is going to be something to screw and unscrew. There we go. Apparently, again, these little bags are recyclable with your soft plastics, though at the moment we don't have that locally, so we would have to take it to the supermarket. There are some little screws, and then the bigger items behind. Feels quite classy, doesn't it, these black cardboard boxes? They've just dyed it. But then I wonder if that does make it a bit more difficult to recycle because of the black dye that's in it, but it does feel quite classy. And we've got another bag. Here we go. That is our UK plug, which is fantastic. We have bought here from a reputable company, and it is fused, which is brilliant. Sometimes you can buy dodgy ones, and it comes with a plug that's not fused, and therefore it's subject to a surge and potentially fire risk. So obviously don't want that. There we are, standard 3-pin power cable. And then I'm guessing this is going to be, in this last one, fantastic little power supply there. So these network attached storage drives do not take a huge amount of power. If they're just sitting and you're not drawing data from it, then very, very low, kind of maybe 30 to 40 watts in terms of that. But obviously, the bigger it is and the more often you're accessing it, the more they can use. So small little power bank there, which we'll plug in, and we'll look forward to getting that set up shortly. It's going to be a bit difficult to show you the setup because we keep ours in the cupboard, so you might have to come into the cupboard with us. And last but by no means least, in the large bag, I'm assuming this is the drive itself. So your network attached storage is basically, oh, I have to use the scissors again, being careful not to slice it. Your network attached storage is actually a small computer. It comes with usually a fairly substantial amount of DDR RAM, and that is because you are transferring the data, and it will help to cache that. There we go. So it does run an operating system, and we'll see how to set that up a little bit later on. Another bit of foam there, another plastic bag. Quite a bit. And just examining it, it is quite a hefty box. These need to be quite solid and quite stable. They do contain hard disk drives, so we'll have a look at those in a moment. You can put solid state drives in them, and that is generally a little bit more expensive, but also in terms of the power. If you use an SSD, it does use a little bit less power, probably a little bit less than half what would use for a hard disk drive, but it is at the moment still quite a bit cheaper to put the hard drives in, so we will do it that way. And you've got fairly substantial fan. These can run quite warm. Quite often they're shoved into a corner. It's not something that you would generally have sat out on your desktop, and we'll show you where ours is later on. So you do need quite a bit of cooling because they do tend to run quite warm, again, particularly when they are in use. And that's the fan on that side. And then on the other end here, we've got the slots that the hard drives are going to come into. You can buy these complete with it already built, but it's actually not too much hassle to slot these in. Right, there we go. And a filter. Not sure what that is for, but we'll work out where that goes shortly. Perhaps over the fan. Should we see if that will fit over the fan? Oh, there we go. Perfect. So that should help prevent the dust from getting in. And then underneath you can see there where you can plug in your data cable, your power cable, and you have also got additional things. So if you wanted to use it as a plugged in server next to a TV, for example, you could use your HDMI or USB cables to plug that in and get your media wired rather than having to get that across the network. Generally, the network itself, in this case we use it wirelessly, is going to be the determining factor in the rate of speed of use of your drive and how quickly you can access it. We do have an older drive that we've had for, I'm going to say, about 3 or 4 years, so it is getting on a little bit now, and that usually transfers at between 30 to 40 megabytes per second of data. We'll see if this one's any quicker. It's got a bit more RAM, but potentially, again, it could be the network itself internally that's the limiting factor. So that's the drive itself. Let's pause there and we'll have a look at the hard drives. So these are the 2 hard disk drives that we're going to put into the unit. We've chosen the 4TB IronWolf Pro. This is a good mid-range choice. It's a good choice between quality and robustness and also being on the cost-effective side, which we like. It's cost us about £600 for the whole setup here, including the drive. Why, might you ask, do we want 2 rather than 1? Why has it got 2 bays? Well, in your drive, this means that you've got a backup within the drive. So you can set it up in a number of different ways. You can either set it up, in this case, 8 terabytes, full 8 terabytes of data use. That's called RAID 0. We're setting it up in RAID 1, which is mirrored, so both drives have exactly the same data on. If one drive fails, then the other is available there. There are 2 new methods of RAID as well, which are 5 and 6, which have kind of interlacing of the data that's available too, but we go for RAID 1, very traditional way of doing it. So you want 2 drives, and let's have a look at the box, shall we? So as I said, this is the IronWolf Pro. Comes in 2 small cardboard boxes. You do want to be careful with your hard disk drives. If there is too much shaking about, then it can damage the data on them, and that is why the NAS unit itself is fairly stable as well to prevent that jumping about. But by purchasing the Pro, you've got that additional robustness. So let's dive in and open the seal. Quite solid, this one. Can't just get into that with a fingernail. And the front pops open. A little bit easier than the laptop box, if you remember that. There we are. We've got the warranty information in many languages, very helpful. Some information on data recovery services. Hopefully we are not going to need that. You've got some additional packaging which holds the hard drive very stable. It's all cardboard, which is good to see, because in the other packet we did have a lot of foam and plastic. And that is what we get because it is just the drive itself which will plug into the unit. And you've then got your dust and magnetic protection. So we've got it home now. We can remove that. That just pulls off quite easily. But because the drive is internal, so it's going to be inserted into it, we do want to be careful that we're not touching anything, particularly around where the drive plugs in, and not damaging it with our fingerprints. So there we go. That is our 8 terabyte drive there. And then we have a second one, which is exactly the same. We'll go in. We'll have another look, just in case you missed it the first time. Open that up. Warranty, data recovery, cardboard. Open that up. And the drive. There it is. So we've got 2 the same. So we'll set that to one side. Getting a moment of deja vu. And then we will pop that down and open into the dust cover, and there we go, drive number 2. So that's everything opened. I guess it's time to dive in and get it all put together. To put the drive into the unit, you will need a little screwdriver. This one, it's smaller than you'd think actually. It's quite wide but quite narrow at the same time. And it comes down, which means that it is unlocked. And you can just pop the screwdriver in and it pulls the bay out for you. You've got a nice little handle there if you want to use it. Let's slot our drive in. So in order to do that, we just need to pull this bit out here to allow it to slot in. Nifty little handle there. Open that out. Pick up our drive carefully, holding the outside. Slot that in. There are some little rubber nodules that push into the screw holes, which is quite clever because again, that will hold it nice and tight. Push that back in, lining up your screw holes so that it does push back in. There we go. It doesn't give you a satisfying click, so you do just have to give it a little wiggle and make sure that that is nice and secure all round. Everything's gone into the little holes that it should. Excellent. And we're ready to pop that back into its hole. Hopefully we'll get a nice satisfying click here. And you'll know that this is down because if not, it won't slide in. And then when we push that in, clunk. There we go. Let's do number 2. Give that push. Pull that out. Pull the side out. Pull our drive by the outside. Plug that in, making sure, of course, that your information to slot it in is at the front. I've tried trying to slot it the other way. I don't know if it would even work. Get that seated, push that in, and push our drive in. There we go. So we're ready to power it up and turn it on. Let's have a look. Let's talk about locating your NAS drive. Ours lives in the understairs cupboard. As we said earlier, you can locate it near your TV if that might use a lot of data. But here we're using next to the router, which is down in the corner there, and ours sits in the other corner here, where you've got plenty of space for airflow around it. You can see the old drive there, which we're going to turn off and disconnect at least temporarily, ready for the new one. And the reason that we're going to do that is because we like to have it connected to an uninterruptible power supply. So that prevents it from powering down in the event of a power cut. This one supposedly lasts about 20 minutes, but we've actually got over half an hour out of it before, so don't know how long it goes for. So we're going to power this one down, as I mentioned, and then slot the new one in, start it up and see what happens. Brilliant. So that's it all plugged in, turned on, and you can see we've got network, we've got the green light flashing, which is brilliant, and we've also got a little blue light on the power bank to tell us that that's on. We will tidy the cabling up later. It's right on top of the universal power supply, so right where the cable is, doesn't need very much, so we've just pulled it out of the way for now so that it doesn't get tangled up. But you'll also see that we've positioned it with the drives next to the wall, and that leaves the fan space further back with plenty of airspace behind it, so to keep it nice and cool. So let's go and get it set up, shall we? Get using. Once you've got your drive plugged in, we can then have a look at the UGreen website to tell us how to add it on. So you can either do it by mobile phone. We've downloaded the app to try later, but we are going to start with it on the laptop to see how to connect it. So the information is here on how to find it using your network. So let's have a look. We type it in, find.ugnaz.com, and there we go, searching for devices, and it's found it. There it is. Fantastic. And there we go. Guide you for initialization. cookies, of course. Oh, administrator account. So I'm going to set something up now. What shall we call it? That's our username and password in. Let's see what's next. Email verification. Okay, time to set an account. We've set up the account and now it's system updates time. Always comes in handy, particularly when you want to keep your precious memories secure. So let's automatically install. There we are, and then that's being configured. So might take a little while. See how long it takes, shall we? Looks like you can get remote access as well. Some handy tips on here. It does unfortunately take the 3 to 5 minutes it's suggested, but we've got there. That's it set up. We've got a user guide to work our way through. Lots of information about what's on the screen. So we're going to go and have a play and set up some files. Look out for some videos soon and you'll know where they're stored. Because we're setting it up as RAID 1, mirroring the two drives, they do need to sync even though they are empty, and make sure that the same thing is on both of the drives, and create a storage pool, which it seems is going to take a little bit of time. It reckons about 11 hours, which is rather a long time, but then rather a lot of data. So we'll just leave it be, see how it gets on, maybe have a little bit of tea while it's doing its thing, and come back to it later. One of the best things about the UGreen Drive is being able to access it in lots of different ways. So we initially used the web interface to access it. You can also have an app on your mobile phone, so we've got that set up now as well. You can set it up to access remotely, which we might do later, and we've also got it set up as a network drive. If you want to do that, then you have a look into the controls, set up the SMB, server message block, and set up the find a device for your device type. So we've set it up for Windows and a Mac because that's what we've got. So we're going to finish up, I guess, just by having a look at the packaging that we've used today. Pretty robust for the hard disk drives themselves, good utilitarian cardboard. The only non-recyclable thing is the dustproof packaging. Fantastic. Same can't quite be said for the UGreen packaging. They're double boxes for some peculiar reason. Lots of black cardboard and unfortunately some Type 7 plastics. These can't be recycled at home at the moment, so they are going to have to go to the supermarket. So could try a little bit harder, UGreen. So thank you very much for joining us. I hope you found that informative to have a look at how to set up your UGreen box, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.